Hey everyone, it's Stephanie Liu, and welcome to a new episode of Digital Confetti. So, listen, have you been working behind the scenes on a product launch? It could be that online course, that mastermind, or even that book launch, right? You might be working on something that's absolutely amazing. Whatever it is, the clock is counting down to finally turn your passion project into profit, which is what we all want, right? See, the thing is that every marketer knows that a product launch is a critical moment in your product's life cycles. Let's be honest. Big brands like Apple, Facebook, and Google have embraced live streaming as part of their rollout. It's expected. From tech giants to car manufacturers, hello Tesla, and apparel companies, you can find examples of live streaming of product launches, updates, and announcements in many industries. These companies do it for a simple reason. It freaking works. That's why I'm excited to have a live video strategist and the founder of Live Streaming Pros, Luria Petrucci, OMG, live streaming legend, join Digital Confetti today to talk about how you can generate buzz around your product launch and repurpose your live stream to keep driving sales. Let me tell you, she's been in the game for a very, very long time. She knows exactly what she's doing. So in today's episode, you're going to learn the number one rookie mistake in a product launch and how to avoid it, 3 reasons to repurpose your live stream launch, and how to plan your product launch run of show. So having said that, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to Restream for sponsoring Digital Confetti. All right, okay. I wish I had sound effects, but I don't. But let me tell you, every time I have ever seen Luria Petrucci at Social Media Marketing World when she touched ground in San Diego, I would fangirl, legit fangirl. And the very first time that she actually said, like, I know who you are, I freaked out. I was like, my knees buckled and everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, she actually knows who I am. And if you don't know who she is, let me tell you how amazing she is. But before that, I'm Stephanie Liu, and welcome to Digital Confetti, where we share tips and tricks on how you can repurpose your content so you can sprinkle it all across the internet. So that way people can find out how amazing and wonderful you are. So, like I said, major girl crush, we are talking about the magic of live streaming and product launching. I'm honored, so honored to welcome Luria Petrucci to Digital Confetti. She's a live video strategist. She's helping you create professional live video that's uniquely you. Think about that. Because here's the thing. Over the last 14 years, Luria has created over 5,000 videos with over a billion views using video and live streaming shows. She's appeared on CNN, NBC, Fox, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, and BBC. Basically every letter in the alphabet, okay? She's worked on live video for top brands like AT&T, Samsung, GoDaddy, and Panasonic. She absolutely knows what she's talking about. So stop what you're doing, close the other tabs, tag your friends, invite them along, because Live Streaming Pros has built live video studios for even top influencers that you and I look up to, like Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn, Ryan Levesque, Donald Miller, and Michael Hyatt. All right, let's go ahead and bring her onto the show. Woo!
Woo! We need confetti!
I know. Right? I know. This is a long time coming. I am so excited to have you here. How are you, friend?
I'm fantastic. I can't wait. I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to say confetti on the Digital Confetti show.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
needed to do it.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I remember when we were planning out the show, there's like, what's the vibe going to be? I was like, it's confetti. It's fun. Like just knowledge bombs and boom, it's
Yes.
going to be a fantastic ride. So before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to the crew that's already here. Oh, Caleb McCool is
Hey,
here.
Caleb.
Yes.
No, don't work on a project. Hang out with us.
That's very true. How often do you get the both of us? Not only that, though, but Luria, because I don't know. You didn't hear, but me and the Wi-Fi know that Luria is working on some amazing and wonderful stuff. So, Luria, let's talk about live streaming and why it's so important in product launches. Do you find that it's one of those things that people just can't ignore anymore? Like it's an absolute must-have.
It really is at this point. I mean, live is the best way to connect with your audience. It's the best way to build know, like, and trust. And as we all know, you need that know, like, and trust for people to want to buy from you. And if you use live strategically and in a way that's not just a pitch and just to sell, but to really connect and help people, with the products that you have, then you're going to have so much success from this using live video strategically. So I can't wait to dive into all of the things today. But yes, it's just so vital.
Yeah, I feel like live streaming your product launches has just been, like, it's an absolute necessity. It's one of
Yeah.
those things where people are all like, this is my time to announce that it's launching, or even if you're closing carts. But where do you, when you're working with your clients, where does live streaming the product come into play? Is it the day the cart opens or like way before that?
Oh, way before. So I love to talk about building buzz through live streaming with your product launches, right? So the best thing that you can do is start this whole process at the time of conception. And people freak out when I say that. So let's not freak out. And I really want you to hear me on this subject, because when you have the idea for a new course, book, whatever it is that you're launching, now is the time to talk to your audience about it and to seed the concept in their brains, and most importantly, to get them emotionally invested in what it is you're creating. So I have a book that has been in my brain for a couple of years that I have been desiring to create, right? But it's not in my plan just yet. Like, I don't know when that's going to happen exactly.
I'm gonna take your plan. Here's your plan.
But like, this is the thing. I tell my audience that I am planning this book, and I don't have to have it all figured out. This is where people get freaked out, right? They get freaked out because, like, well, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know what the title is going to be. I don't know all the things. So you don't have to. I give you permission right now to invite your audience through the journey of the creation process, because I guarantee you, when it comes time to actually launch and there's something to purchase, it's theirs as much as it is yours. And that's what's so cool and so exciting. I know that by the time my book gets launched, I'll be able to have much better chances at a top seller than I would if I weren't bringing my audience for that journey, right? So it's really important to start that buzz process really early on. And another thing that people get freaked out by this concept is that people will steal their ideas. Stephanie, what do you think about this? Because I hate it when I cringe when people say this. It's like, really, come on. Like, that's old corporate style thinking.
Yeah, and you know what? I will say that the garbage man outside, he totally agrees. He's like, "That's garbage," and he started like throwing stuff into the recycling. He's like, "You could take that limiting belief and," but I see. He's all like, on to the next house to convince the other
Yeah, I
person
can't
to
hear
throw
him.
out that garbage idea. But no, I totally agree. Molly Mahoney, which you and I, we're part of like our little cute clubhouse live video club. And Molly and I have always had this running joke that there is regular spaghetti and then there's Filipino spaghetti. Filipino spaghetti is made actually with banana ketchup and like some sweet stuff, which is very different from your traditional spaghetti. And we always made this joke that it's like everyone has a different flavor, has a different spice. So even though you might be talking about the same thing, the way that you deliver it, your personality, like all of the above,
Mhm.
is going to be different. So I love the fact that you're just like, no one's going to really, I mean, they're going to look, always imitated, never duplicated.
Yes.
That's really what it is,
Yeah.
right? And so I love it when you say, go out there and share and get feedback from your audience, because I think that's going to be really, really helpful.
And that feedback is the most important part of this, right? It's not just their emotional investment in it, it's them helping you create the product itself. If you're doing a course, even a book or a product of any kind, even if it's a physical product, right? Like if Rode said, "Hey, help me create this product," oh, how freaking awesome would that be, right? It doesn't matter what kind of product we're talking about, but giving them the option to tell you what they want out of your product is
Yeah.
powerful.
Which, P.S., by the way, I will already tell you that someone is asking for an audiobook from you, which you and I have already been talking about, like how we transcribe our notes and whatnot. So that's
Yes.
already in the making for you. Just going to
For
let you know.
sure.
Love audio production.
and see, you've got Einar saying, "I'll buy it. Have you started pre-sales?" Right? When you have that trust with your audience, and Einar is a very dedicated member of my community, and I adore that he shows up to everything that we do, right? But like when you have that, you are going to be able to sell without selling. That's what I love about this buzz process. When it comes time to sell, you don't have to do a freaking thing, because all you have to say is, "All right, it's out." Boom.
Here, cart's open. Go ahead and buy it. Boom.
You don't have to do any work at that point.
So what you're saying is when you are thinking about what it is that you want to launch, even though you don't have everything ironed out, details and all that other stuff, just start putting in like the little breadcrumbs out there, just like little here and there. Yep. Do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, I think that covers it for the most part, unless somebody has a question and stuff. And Prima is asking, "Are you going to publish Amazon KDP?" I don't even know what that is. But no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the details figured out. I don't know. But those questions that come through start to feed into my strategy for sure, right? I'm like, "What is
Yeah.
KDP? I don't know. I'll figure that out when it comes time," right? I'm listening to,
We will hire someone to figure it out.
Exactly.
We will hire someone else to figure it out because you've got other
Yes,
big
for
stuff
sure. Oh,
to work
I'm
on,
looking the
right?
wrong way.
I
Okay,
know.
you're over
Hey.
here.
All right. So then when you are thinking about your product launch, you're going to be putting like little teasers that are out there. But when it's finally time to launch, when you're thinking about like your run of show and how you're going to repurpose the content, first let's talk about like, how do you create a run of show for a product launch? Is it just like, "Hey, cart's open, have at it," or do you add certain elements to it to make it much more engaging?
Well, so instead of a single run of show, what I like to look at when we're looking at a launch period of time, right? So we're starting buzz way, way, way early. But when it comes to the actual launch process, that tends to last 2 weeks to a month period of time. And so you're not going to do just one thing during that period of time, right? You're going to be doing a different variety of run of shows, so that, or I call them show flows, right? Same thing, but I like to think of it as a flow of of that show. Oh, Kindle Digital Publishing. Got it. Yeah. Okay, well, that makes sense.
I saw that too. I was like, "Oh, look at that. I learned something new. Thank you. High five." That's awesome.
Oh, sorry, I'll get back on track. So, you think about the period of time, and you're going to have a variety of types of content that you're going to do. One of those is going to be a book launch or a product launch or a whatever launch, right? And so this is where that is the launch date. And so that's something that should be treated as an event. It's a whole big thing that you promote in advance too. And you bring on maybe people, you have this whole plan of a party. It's a party, essentially. It's a party.
Yes.
I mean, we want to have a party, right? You want to have confetti. You want to have all kinds of things going on. You want to have champagne. You want to bring on the party feel. And so when you think about that, you are planning in advance, you're promoting to it, and then you can structure that stream any number of ways, but you want to tease the show, right? So you start out without it launched, right? It's a launch party, so you're kind of starting out, you're teasing towards, you're providing some kind of extra value throughout that content, and then towards the end is the big quote unquote launch, right? And again, you can play this a number of ways, but this is one of my favorites, where you bring out the champagne, you bring out the cake, in Chris Ducker's example, you do all of the fun things, and this is really good. Try to treat your live stream audience special. So if they don't show up live for this launch party, they don't get that discount. They don't get that extra bonus. They don't get something. Create FOMO out of that launch party, and you'll see a lot bigger numbers and more success for that launch itself. You're muted. Did the garbage truck come back?
Oh, it was the garbage truck. I love the FOMO. I think that's absolutely brilliant, because showing up live and getting that, it's like your early access. It's your VVIPs, your VVIPs. And I remember, I don't know if it was like Black Friday or something, but you had like a piñata for what, like you're releasing new graphics. And then whenever someone did some type of super chat, they'd hit the piñata. And I was like, that is so clever. I've never seen anyone else do that.
Yeah.
But it was so memorable, and I wanted to be a part of it. And I was just like, oh, what else? What is on my calendar? What can I cancel so I can hang out here? I think that's so much fun. What are some other ways?
Well, just to tap into that a little bit more so that people get a sense for how that worked and why
Yes.
that worked. So as you said, we were launching new graphics. We do templated graphics for you to put into your own live stream, right? And then we also were promoting our membership. So we had two things that we were offering Black Friday discounts for. And Callie, who is our community care hero, she was over on a different part of the set with a green screen, and I had her as an overlay over here. Every time somebody purchased, she would call their name out, very, very important, and then hit the piñata trying to break it, right? People bought, and people bought extra. They bought again. They already had a graphic. They bought it again because they wanted their name called out, or, that name recognition, that special treatment, that is human behavior that you're tapping into. So when you get good at understanding how humans work and what motivates them, then you can have a lot of fun with it, right? It's not manipulation. We're not going in a weird gray yucky area here. And I would, if you do, that's on you. But have fun with it, make it a party, make it enjoyable, because what you are doing is offering value, right? If you're trying to sell something in this manner that isn't of value to anybody, or that you're just trying to manipulate the situation, then that's not a good thing. But if you and your audience know that it's super valuable, they want it, you did it for them anyway, right? That's a good positive way to tap into human behavior.
I find that human behavior is so important for people to be mindful of, because even as a live streamer, you always want to know like how people make their decisions and what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
Side note for you and I, someone's saying that your volume is low. So
I just increased it.
yeah, I
Let me
hear it.
know.
Yeah, it sounds fine on my end. So I don't
Okay.
know if it's just a YouTube thing that's happening, but
Okay.
that's okay. I
And
hear you loud and clear.
and Daniel says he joined Streamer Accelerator just because of the pinata busting. It was fun and I knew I wanted to be part of it. There you
Yeah.
go.
And I think even when by you doing that, it gave them an impression of, well, what's your community going to be like? Like that it's
Exactly.
fun,
Yeah.
and it's exciting. Whereas some other people, it's just like, here's a bunch of, courses, outlines. I'm just going to brain dump
Mhm.
on you and I'll check in on you and every now and then. But you make
Yeah.
it fun and you
Right.
add a lot of personality to that, which I think is great for people if they're just discovering you for the very first time.
Yeah.
One thing that I saw a question come up, and where's my cue? Where did the cue go?
Uh-oh.
The question was, when you're doing a product launch, would you still do a webinar as a part of your
Oh,
remember the
Melanie.
product launch?
Streaming Sisters
Yeah.
Unite.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Would you still do a webinar, or has the live stream replaced the webinar?
Up to you, right? It definitely can be beneficial to do both, right? So if you do a webinar, that's for a different part of your audience, maybe, because with webinars, your goal is to reach cold traffic. And what you can do is tie those two things together. You can start with the webinar processes and integrate live streams into that into the flow of your webinars, right? So you could start with a live stream for your existing audience, and then you could have the cold traffic coming into your webinar, and invite them in your nurture sequence into a live stream that happens maybe the day before cart close, something like that, right? So Jeff Walker has been doing an incredible job with live launches using live video. And this is another option for you, is basically running. I don't think he's doing webinars at all in this process, and he's literally doing live streams. Wow, can you hear the wind?
No,
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like there's like so much noise.
It's a noisy day.
It's Friday. Everyone just wants to let you know that it's a Friday.
Right? So yeah, he is going live. He's doing full training that you would think of being done in a webinar on a live stream. The tricky thing to know about that is that when you go out onto social, right, and you're going to Facebook and YouTube, and especially Facebook, and you're trying to do a webinar style through a live stream, you're going to lose a lot because people are coming and going in that environment, especially on Facebook. There's a lot of notifications that come through and they get distracted. And if they're bored for a second, they might click away on that notification. And so you need to treat it differently, and have a lot more breakup of a live stream webinar than you would a traditional webinar. So really think about the benefits. I treat my webinars when I do them, even privately behind closed doors, as a live stream. I'm talking to the
Really?
audience. I'm, like having fun with them. I'm engaging with them. I'm delivering the kind of webinar format, but it's highly broken up to treat it like a live stream so that they feel connected, they stick around.
How long is that show flow when
An
you're doing
hour.
that? Because an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was curious. And when you do that, do you do it on multiple platforms, or are you directing them over to your site? Because later on when you actually drop like, hey, here's the product launch, they're already there on the site ready to buy.
You still want to get them registered, right? You still want to capture those email addresses for sure. You don't want to just assume and hope that your ad will catch them after the fact of watching your stream. You still want to be strategic about that. And so, yeah, I kind of go through that normal process and tweak it, so that I'm kind of inviting them to the live stream as well. And so you kind of have two simultaneous things potentially going on: the webinar process, but even, behind that registration, let's do extra stuff in our webinars, right? Let's add the
Oops.
fancy graphics. Oh no, I'm
Oh, sorry.
sorry. Just
I thought
like
that was me.
no, it was a demo.
That was funny. I was like, how did I get India Delgado on here? I was like, did India just crash the show? This is what happens when you and your guests both manage multiple shows. And I'm like, wait, that's not mine.
And you have like loaded up my graphics because you have taken over hosting on my streams and stuff. Hey Molly, we were just talking about you. But yeah, so like break it up, right? Treat it as that. But you can have a couple of different strategies there. When it comes
I like that you mentioned that because someone else had mentioned which one is better. And I feel like it's always helpful to know your audience's learning styles because some might just like the webinar where they're like, just give me all of the information. Whereas the live stream might have like the entertainment stuff in all of it. They're like, I just need to know what the promo code, they just give it to me. Like,
give it to
here's
me.
my card, boom. Or like Molly likes to say, just let me throw my credit card at your face right now and run with it. Great.
And that is key is more like mixing it up so that you do hit different audiences in different ways for sure.
And so do you put the same amount of effort in promoting the live stream launch and like a webinar launch? Or do you find that like, oh, the webinar needs more lead time for registrations?
Well, so if you're using the webinars, I would, you're going to have a little bit more lead time with a webinar process and registration process than you will it depends on how you play it, right? But like you could, because we're treating, it depends on what we're leading them to. So if you're leading them to a webinar style live stream versus a party, that's going to require a little less promotion than a party, which is going to require up to a month of promotion, right? So if you're having the launch party versus a webinar style live stream, those are going to be played a little differently from a strategic standpoint.
I've always heard of live streaming the product launch, but I've never heard of the party. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I want like this black tie gala invitation to this event. Like this sounds like so much fun. Here's a question from Robert. He's a really big fan of yours, obviously. And he says, I love the in-depth talk of audience behavior with live launches. Is there a remedy of FOMO fatigue where folks may not respond? So remember like the different learning styles are like, I've been waiting for this. You've been talking about this book forever.
Right.
Can I just get the book now? So is there like a tempting giveaway, an ideal time slot, dazzling presenters? Do you throw in like, and here's Ryan Levesque and Molly Mahoney, and they're going to throw some testimonials? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I bring on guests if you're throwing a party, then absolutely guests, extra content, things like that. Can you throw that comment up again for me?
Yeah, which Roberts. Yeah, go for it.
So there's a lot to talk about here, right? So like dazzling presenters for sure, guests that your audience will know and be like, ooh, I gotta catch them. Like that's not a normal thing for your shows. Ideal time slot. That depends on your audience, right? So I typically do it so I'm live almost every day at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, you are.
And so if I'm going to do a party, I'm going to do probably a couple of different parties, but I'm going to do my main party at the same time that people are used to seeing me live. That way, because I'm going to treat them special, they're going to get something extra like they should be. They're the core audience who show up day in and day out not to get anything special. So of course I'm going to treat them as special and do it at the same time that they're used to. So you got to test that with your audience. Definitely giveaways or some kind of, like I said earlier, a bonus or a discount or something special for those live stream audiences. In terms of FOMO fatigue, you can overdo it, but it kind of is, it takes a lot to be able to overdo it. So FOMO is a powerful thing. So I think you'd have to like really go at it to hit the over FOMO. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think FOMO fatigue, when I heard that term, I thought it was more of like, oh, there's too many events that are happening this week that I can't make it to all. No, that was
Oh.
just my interpretation because
Oh, okay.
I don't think that one person or one event can fatigue me from FOMO. I think it would be more of like my own personal responsibility of, man, I'm trying to join everything. I'm on Clubhouse on Thursdays. I'm doing this, like
Yeah.
that's where I'm fatiguing myself. I'm not really like putting on the brand or the content creator themselves. That
For
was just
sure,
what
yeah,
I thought.
and that could definitely happen. So you wouldn't want to have like 5 parties for sure, right? You have max 2 if if you're trying to get people to show up at a webinar and a live stream. Like you don't have to send. You're not sending everybody through the same funnel. Like so, if you're doing different types of launches
Yeah.
and launch strategies, then not everybody is going to see everything. So that can happen.
Yeah. I guess I'm still thinking about like when have I actually been FOMO fatigued? And I'm thinking about like so Podfest Global just happened,
Yeah.
like the
Still
virtual
going
summit,
on,
and
right?
exactly. So I'm like, that's where I'm fatigued because I'm like, every day I'm getting emails about this, and someone's on Hoover, and I'm like, can't do that. So
Yeah.
good. I'm going to give a shout out to one of your viewers. And he said that Luria has a very good way of taking care of her audience. For me, she makes me feel like I'm belonging here. It's like home watching her streams. It's business, but she knows how to do it right. Love it.
Aw.
And then we have a couple of the Clubhouse crew here, and they're like, oh my gosh, OMG, like Dr. Elo is here. And then you
Yeah.
have Molly Mahoney. It's like we're on
Molly.
Clubhouse. It's like the worlds are merging in here. So let's talk about now that you have your show flow, you have the parties and all of that stuff, the stream ends.
Yeah.
What then? Are you repurposing it? Are you saving it for later? Like, what's your thought process on that?
Yeah, absolutely. All of your different types of, and by the way, just to tack on to what we were talking about before, like it's not just the party, it's not just the webinar stream, right? You're gonna do content as well leading up to that launch that is targeted to whet people's appetites for what you're going to wind up selling them without selling anything yet, right? So you're going to create content that feeds them the information they need to know now to be ready to purchase what it is, right? So that clears out the objections, that gives them the education that they need to get them prepared mentally to be ready to consume that extra information. So that's one thing. But yes, throughout all of those things, you're absolutely going to repurpose. Find mic drop moments and send that out in clips, right? So you're going to clip that stuff out. You can run ads to it. That would be a fantastic strategy to take a mic drop moment and run an ad on Facebook to that short 1 to 3 minute video. And then you're going to use that ad strategy to gather an audience that you can then let them know that there is something to actually purchase, right? You could play that a couple of different ways depending on your strategy for ads.
Yeah.
Clip that, put it out on social, get people to sign up for the webinar or sign up for the XYZ, the product itself. So you're putting that content out there. Not everybody is going to watch a 1 hour live stream. So you absolutely must repurpose.
Repurposing is everything. I feel like that's where I spend most of my days. You were just telling me about in Searchy, this new
Yeah.
transcription thing. That is that like your main go-to for repurposing content these days?
It's starting to be. It's a new thing that we're kind of integrating, and so one of the things that we're looking at doing is so Searchy. Just for anybody who doesn't know, is something that it's an auto transcription service, right? It's creating transcriptions, which a lot of other services do. But what this does is allow you to have this embedded on your site for your members, students, things like that. But also we're using it just privately, and it'll take you. Like you can see the transcription, but then it'll have a time code and it'll take you directly to that piece of the video to just start watching that. So it's really, really useful from that perspective. And we're actually kind of looking at ways and testing things right now to to use that to create chapter markers for our YouTube videos, or find the things that we want to clip out easily without having to watch that whole video again.
I feel like I was talking to Molly Mahoney about this too, because she was saying that if she could do something with her courses where like her students can just go in there and search for something and then it just pulls up all of that's searchy too? Or that is searchy?
That is searchy. So essentially, so searchy is that you can integrate that into your website and embed that wherever you have your course material. But also they released it's in beta, searchy hubs, and that's a whole membership platform or course platform that houses all of that stuff and integrates that functionality. So I'm actually currently moving my entire membership Streamer Accelerator content from Thinkific to Searchy Hubs, so that, and you can integrate it into Thinkific, but the high integration into Searchy Hubs is going to be tremendous value to our students, so that they can just find what they're looking for.
1 second. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. We'll obviously have to do another show about this.
Totally. It's yeah, and I have a like an affiliate link to it. It's like lsp.tools/searchy, but you have to spell it right with an IE, right? But like yeah, this is a powerful tool. It's done by Stu McLaren's team. So yeah, Tribe.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, this is a whole other site or show for sure.
That's a whole nother thing. Okay, so having said that, we'll turn that off. What I will say that I really liked you saying for repurposing your content, when you were talking about the show flow, you're saying that during your webinar and even your show flow, you are handling objections. And I think that's a really good way to repurpose into content as well. As like, what's this objection that people have about showing up on camera or live streaming? And then maybe you could tack onto that an actual testimonial from one of your LSP members of like, OMG, I love Luria, you know?
or not even things. Just like, I love Luria, but like, okay, here's this objection. I'm afraid to get on camera. Here's this person who says, I was afraid to get on camera, and guess what? Now I love getting on camera, and I'm super confident, right? So those absolutely, those adding those testimonials on top of that, that's a brilliant idea. I love that. And when we think about show flow, I think this is really important to talk about. You need to plan in advance. You need to know what it is you're trying to do with this content after the fact, so that you don't have a mic drop moment and in the middle of it you're saying, oh my gosh, hi Joanne, how are you? Right? Like, don't do that. Or Johan, I'm sorry, maybe I said your name right. Right? So like you have these weird like awkward pieces that you can't really repurpose. So when you're thinking repurpose, plan that stuff, get focused, make sure that you have the notes of the things that you know are going to be vital to repurpose. And of course, during your stream, sometimes you're just going to say something brilliant and you didn't even mean to. But when you're in that moment and you're like, ooh, this is really good, you know, don't look at chat. Don't even just look at chat. Just stay focused on the camera, deliver, and then think about that repurposing. Get in that brain space constantly of repurposing.
Constantly repurposing. Yeah, I find that even when I'm putting together like my scripts of what it is that I want to say, I'm thinking in sound bites.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, here it is. Boom, that's going to be like a really quick clip for you. But even when you were giving the example of like, okay, here's my mic drop, and then like, hey girl, hey, I was like, oh, you could probably play that off like after the live stream has done, because you're already like in makeup and in dress. Just record it.
You can, but honestly, I've tried that and it just doesn't come out the same way, you know?
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, so then when you're repurposing this content, how quickly do you churn it out? Do you just save it as like, okay, this is going to be in the library for the next launch, or you just automatically, stream has ended, team, go out there, repurpose?
Well, it depends on how organized you are, right? I mean, as we all know, launches get a little crazy sometimes,
That's true. That's
and you
true.
get behind and you get flustered and things go wrong. And just be easy on yourself. Do what you can, think about that repurposing, put as much as you can out there. But what you just said, Stephanie, is key to always remember. There's going to be a next time too. So it's
Mhm.
okay to be like, this might be too much. Like I've got too much here. So I'm struggling. I don't have a team and I can't do all of the things. Just focus on a few things and organize it, categorize it, keep it so that you can use it next time as well.
Okay. I love this. This is so much fun because you guys could tell that I'm just like geeking out with her. It's like, these are the 3 questions you asked me. No, they are kind of. What would you also say is like the biggest rookie mistake that people make when they're doing the product launches? Is it just not engaging with the audience during a product launch live stream because they want to be perfect?
Right. Yeah.
Like, what would
It's
you say?
showing up to sell. It's showing up with that mentality of like, I gotta push this. I gotta push this. This has gotta be like, I gotta hit that number that I've got the goal. Yeah, for sure. Like, let's set some goals and let's go freaking after those goals. Absolutely. But when you show up in your energy, in your flow, in your like mentality, just to sell, 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 guys, your audience is going to see right through that and you're not going to sell as much. So show up from a place of value, of service, of entertainment and fun, and an environment that your audience wants to be, not only wants to be a part of, but can't help but be a part of. You saw, we talked about that piñata stuff earlier. Like that's the kind of thing that you want to create an environment around. So you can do that without a piñata, by the way. You can do that with some confetti. Like actual digital confetti. You can do that with popping a bottle of champagne. You can do that in so many different ways that it doesn't have to feel like there's only this one time that you're creating that environment. It's every time you show up. And don't just show up to sell. There are some people out there who you will only see live when they're ready to sell you something. And that can break trust so badly. So don't do
I was
that.
just gonna ask you that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's let's say someone is so popular on Instagram and they have an active Facebook group, but the only time that they go live is for the launch party.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
I mean, so there are some people who can get away with it. And I will point this, Amy Porterfield, she goes live to, in her launch process, right? So like a month out, she'll be live publicly. But the key difference here with Amy in the way she doesn't break the trust that I'm talking about is that she's live in her members group and her students group, and she goes live in her free group, on a consistent basis. So she's
Yeah.
not like for those people, like they're seeing her constantly still. But also she's using stories, Instagram, Facebook stories to connect with her audience on that deeper personal level. She may not go live, but at least she's tapping into that personal side and connection as much as she has time for. So that's something to consider as well, right? If you're going to only do launch lives, then one, you can only get by with it if you have an existing huge audience that trusts you deeply. That's
Yeah.
one thing. And then secondly, if you're going to do that, you have to feed in the personal connection in other ways.
That makes a lot of sense because I feel like if they're so used to seeing you in a group, right? If for to get them to show up live, if that's not a part of their habit,
Yeah.
right? Then you got to train them. Like I was telling this to Luria, you guys don't know this. But I told Luria that
Secrets are
sometimes
coming
when
out.
I know, it's like, this is it. We're winding down. But yeah, like sometimes when she has her show, like I'll do my makeup and I'm just going to listen to the warm up music in the background. Like even when I was playing the Restream, like she's dancing and I was like, oh, Luria, like that's my girl. That's what we do, and I'm usually there even just for the countdown, just because I love the tracks that she plays. And that's the only time I really get to hear them. So I'm like Pavlov's dog at this point. She's like, what happens at this time? You're going to play this song. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like getting all into it. Shout out to Vladimir, who is saying sincerity in your offer. I find that to be very, very helpful because you are right. I mean, when you come off like very salesy, people are just going to smell that from a mile away and they're like, oh, you're trying to hit a quota, you're trying to get this thing.
And that doesn't mean that you don't sell. Like, I make those offers, but it's coming from a place of sincerity, like Vladimir was saying, and a place of serving and heartfelt emotion,
No, I totally remember where I was like, I need a digital confetti overlay. And then boom, like all of a sudden it happened. I was like, thank you, LSP. You guys are absolutely amazing.
Wait, what did Caleb say?
Caleb says, this talk reminds me of a book I was given called Preaching from the Soul. Have you read that one?
No.
Okay. Content creation isn't about sell. It's about finding a purpose and sharing it with the world. I find that's the same. That's the same mindset when it comes to live streaming too.
Yes, totally.
You're really there. I don't know. I'm here to geek out and nerd and hang out with live streaming legends, and just have fun while doing it too. And the fact that you guys are here makes it awesome and amazing. So good. Well, honestly, for those of you that are just tuning in, Luria has been dropping so much value about how to add live streaming to your product launches. We've talked about show flows and how to make it entertaining. She gave us the idea of launch parties, and maybe not even one, but two, because you might even have like a global audience, right? Like you're very mindful of like what part of the world your audience is in.
You've got to be, yeah.
So that's helpful. And we've also talked about the fun elements, the piñata. Honestly, I thought that was hilarious because the unicorn that you had, I was like, I have the same exact unicorn. What are we about to do right now?
My unicorn, hold on.
Wait, why is all, I can't leave.
Wait.
Oh my gosh. See, you gotta love, oh. Damn it. I'm like, now where is my 5-year-old? I shoot her away. But
I know, right? After the piñata, we used this to try and hit the piñata, but that didn't quite work because it's not very solid. But after that, I've pulled this out just to be like, celebrate, like get excited about, certain things. And that's a trigger, right? So they recognize this from the piñata episode, and then they see this again and they see it again. It becomes a trigger. It becomes a point of engagement that you can really tap into. Props at the ready.
I remember for social media marketing world, I would give away like these custom enamel pins that would say, oh, like lights, camera, live, and I would hand them out. I think when we go back into events, if you had a unicorn piñata pin,
oh my gosh,
that would be legit. Like that should be a part of like an LSP Pros like actual merch where it's like you have a piñata pin.
I could wear one right here.
Anna says props at the ready. I'm telling you, Luria she's on it. She's on it. She's absolutely amazing. So we've also talked about being mindful of repurposing your content because there's so many different ways that you could do this. You could do sales objections, testimonials, your mic drop moments, which I feel like you should totally trademark. Mic drop moments,
Ooh,
MCM.
Okay.
Every time I hear the word, every time I hear mic drop, a little part of me is like, no, don't drop my mic. Not the mic. I need the mic. Don't drop it. Why don't you dare ever drop my mic?
Too literal there. Too literal.
Too literal. So yeah. Are there any closing thoughts that you would give any of these content creators that plan on launching this year, for live streaming? Is there something new that you'd like to see? Is there something that you have seen that you're just like, don't take my piñata idea. That's my thing. That's our thing.
I think the main thing here is there's so much pressure around launches for people, and nobody puts that on you, put that on yourself. And so remember that, things don't need to be perfect. If you start that buzz process now, even if your launch is in a month, like start it now. Get that conversation flowing. Even if it's coming up quickly, you can say, hey guys, like I'm finishing this up. We're about to launch this, but I want to check in with you. Is there anything I need to like fast include this in this that you need from me, that you want from this thing, right? So it's never too late to start that process, but don't put so much pressure on yourself. Hit those goals, be motivated. I'll always, always, always support you for reaching new heights, but it doesn't need to be perfect, right? You can reach those new heights. You can hit those goals, and not the whole process, your live stream, the repurposing process. None of it has to be perfect for you to hit high goals. I remember when I hit some high numbers for me and goals that I was like, ooh, I don't know if we'll be able to reach that. I can guarantee you that tech failed, that things went wrong, that it wasn't perfect. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure that through the whole process if we were gonna hit it because of XYZ happening. It's like all of this stuff is messy. Just remember that, and don't put so much pressure on yourself.
I love that. That's so much fun. Yes.
The more fun you have, the more fun your audience is going to have, and the more likely they are going to be to buy. That's really the whole point.
That is very, very true, because I feel like your emotions are always amplified on camera like 10 times. And so even if you're like, I'm going to act like nothing's, like your eyes are all bulgy.
I can guarantee you, like, people have come to me after the fact and I'm like, oh no, like I totally hid that. I got by with that. I was feeling so anxious. And then I'll get messages after being like, are you okay? Because you were a little off. So it doesn't matter how well you think you hide things, you don't.
Yeah, people will always catch on it. Vladimir is saying, I don't always wear a unicorn piñata, but when I do, it's from Luria. Girl, I'm telling you, we're about to have like unicorn piñata merch up in here.
Yes, we are.
Look, Anna's even saying that she would buy it.
Nice.
See, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Well, Luria, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you and geek out with you. I know that for those that, yes, they've taken away so much from this, they've learned so much value from you, but if they still need someone to hold their hand along the process, where is the best place for them to reach out to you and learn more about what it is that you and your amazing team does?
Well, live very often, 4 days a week right now, at youtube.com/livestreamingpros or facebook.com/livestreamingpros. I would love, love, love to hang out with you on our shows. We do have a lot of fun, and we drop all kinds of knowledge, and we help you achieve your goals. So hang out with me, get to know me, and let me get to know you. And if you're interested in taking further steps, you can find all of the stuff at livestreamingpros.com. Thank you so much for having me. I love hanging out with you, Stephanie, and the community is amazing. So thank you for great questions today, by the way.
No, this is good. So this is going to be a part of your book? Yes or yes? Yeah.
What, all of this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's about like the uniquely you concept. So,
that's right. That's right.
So we'll see. We'll see how much of it goes in. Oops.
Every time you do that, it messes me up. I just like
hitting all the buttons.
I feel like someone, like my restream just got, what's that word? Possessed?
Yeah. Like, what's happening to my stuff?
What's happening to Laura? She's like morphing into different shows. All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. You know where to find Luria. She's absolutely everywhere. She's amazing. Luria, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Yes. All right. Bye everyone. Take care. Bye. Where's this button? Where did it